Hi everyone. In this video we are going to discuss the for loop in Python. For loop is actually it's a looping structure in Python, and its purpose is to execute a set of statements or a block of statements repeatedly for a fixed number of times. So in other programming languages, the for loop is designed in such a way that this can execute for a fixed number of times and until a condition is satisfied. But in Python, for loop is designed in such a way that it can operate on every element given as a sequence, and it will take every element from the sequence and it will process that element. Let us move to the syntax of for loop. For loop, actually it starts with the keyword for, and then a looping variable or iterating variable is actually to be defined. Then in is a keyword or it's an operator that extracts a particular element from a sequence of numbers or a range of numbers given as the input to this for loop. So this for loop will take every element from the sequence or range of numbers generated, and it will assign it to the looping variable or iterating variable, and then this iterating variable can be processed inside the for loop's body. Now, sequence. What is a sequence? A set of numbers the for loop iterates through and processing. So the sequence can be given as the data to be processed by this for loop or iterated through by this for loop, and the syntax of providing this sequences a collection of values separated by comma and mentioned within set of curly braces. And another way of providing the set of values to be assigned to this looping variable or iterating variable is the range function. Range function is capable of generating number of sequence of numbers within a range whenever it is called. And watch the video on range function in the YouTube channel. And let us move to the examples for the for loop. For example, let us write a for loop for, and let us assume the iterating variable's name is I. In is the operator that extracts a particular element from the given set of values. Now, let us assume that we are providing a set of values in the form of the sequence of numbers. For example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, this for loop is actually possesses a collection of statements. So it's a block. So to open a block in Python, we have to end the header of the block with a colon. Now, if you press enter, the cursor is moving to the next line and after a particular tab space. This is called indentation. So indentation is the indentation in Python is used to separate a particular set of statements from its actually set of statements that belong to a particular block. Now, let us write a simple print statement that will print this I. So what this for loop will do is it will iterate through this sequence of numbers and it will extract every number from the sequence from 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, then 5. Every time it will take one element from the sequence and it will assign it to the iterating variable I. And that variable I or value available in that variable I, it will be processed in this for loop. Now let us execute the program and look at the output. So this for loop executes now, and now the output is displayed in the screen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this for loop works continuously on all the numbers in the sequence. But there is a drawback when you are using the sequences like this. If the length of the sequence or number of elements in the sequence is less, then it's not a big issue. But if the length of the sequence or number of elements you want to process is very larger in size or very high in size, then it's very difficult or it's very tedious to write that such big sequences in the for loop. So instead of using the sequences, the Python programming language provides another way of mentioning the set of values that is going to be iterated through by for loop. That is the range function. So range is a function that can generate a sequence of numbers within a given range. For example, let me give a particular value as in or parameter to this range function. So range is actually having three variants. One argument, two arguments, and three arguments variants are there for this range. If you provide only one argument, for example, let me give 10 as the parameter, then what will happen is this range will generate numbers from 0 to 10. So this beginning of the number is not actually mentioned in the beginning of the number is not mentioned in the range function, but the 10 is considered as end of that sequence of numbers. So let us execute this program and check the output. Now you can see this range function is generating the values from 0 to 9. So if you notice one thing from this range function, you are not mentioning the starting number in the sequence. So 0 is assumed as starting number in the sequence. But you aimed it to print up to 10. But it is not printing 10. Instead it is printing only up to 9. So what happens is the range function will not include that end number as the part of the sequence generated by this range function. So if you are providing 10 as its end, then it will generate the numbers from 0 till 9. Suppose if you want to have the numbers from 0 to 10, you have to mention up to 11. Now let us run this module. Now you can see that this range function now generates from 0 to 10. Now, we cannot expect that our applications will require a sequence of numbers only from 0. It can be from any number, right? So in that case, you can use a start number also. You can use a start number also. For example, I want to print the numbers from 1 to 10. So let me mention the starting number as 1, and as usual, end number will always include it will not include the end number. So if you want to print up to 10 in your screen, then you have to give up to 11 in your argument, right? So now I expect that this will print numbers from 1 to 10 in the output screen. Let us run it. Yes. Now you see, instead of 0, it starts from 1 and is printing till 10. Let me give one more example. For example, let me give 15 and till 15 till, for example, 25. In this case, it is printing all the numbers from 15 till 24, since 25 is not included in the sequence, right? Now, again, there is an issue. We cannot expect that always the numbers will be continuous in fashion. For example, if you see the outputs generated by this range function in this for loop, it's continuous. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We cannot expect that always the numbers will be continuous in fashion. So what can we do is we can use the step values. We can use the step values. For example, if I want to have the numbers starting from 15 and every number, the next number will be actually, for example, 17, then 19, then 21, like that. Then what I have to do is I have to give the step value 2. I have to give the step value 2. So now initial value is 15 and next value is 17. That means from the current value generated by this function is added with 2, and the next value is generated from that. Right, so 15 plus 2 17, 17 plus 2 19, 19 plus 2 21. It's going like that up to 25 it will print. and again 25 is not included in the sequence. So if you want to have 25 in the sequence, then you have to give 26. Now let us run the program again. Now you see it's printing all the numbers from 15 to 25, where every number is plus 2 added with the previous number. So this is what actually the behavior of this program or behavior of this range function. Now again, what you can see is you can create any such set of sequences in this using this range function. You can generate negative ranges. You can generate reverse ranges. Please watch the video posted in the channel on range functions explanation. Now let us have a small example on sum of first 100 natural numbers. Okay, so I am writing a program on sum of first 100 natural numbers. Then let us write a for loop. This for loop will iterate through a range of numbers generated between 1 and 100. So between 1 and 100. But the problem is I want to have the sum up to 100. So if you are mentioning end 100 as the end, then it will not include 100. It will include only up to 99. So let me give 101. Now what will happen is it will consider the numbers from 1 to 100, and we want to add these numbers. So let us have a variable sum, and this sum can add all the natural numbers with it, and finally the sum can have the sum of natural numbers in it. Let us print the sum. Let us run the module. So there is some error. So what is that error is unsupported operand type. Okay, right. So let us see the program for I in range 1 to 101 and sum equal to sum plus I, then print sum. So in this case, first we have to find the sum. So this for loop will iterate through all the elements in this range from 1 to 100, and it will add every element or every number generated with the sum, and after printing everything, the sum will have the sum of all the elements in this sequence or in this range of numbers. And after that you have to print the sum in the screen. So in that case, this print statement should be outside that for loop. That means it should not be within the indentation of the for loop. It should be outside the for loop, and you have to print it. So initially this sum should have a value, because you are going to add, you are going to use the sum variable for summation in future. So if sum is having some garbage value assigned by Python, then it will give a wrong result when you are adding additional numbers with that. So instead, if you initialize sum with the value 0, anything added with 0 is actually that same number only. So when you are adding the first number with sum, it will not, its existing value will not create any wrong results in your program, right? So let us run the program again. Now you see one issue is there, right? It's printing 50-50, right? So that means 5050. So 5050 is the result of this programs or code's execution, right? So now this code is running. So I hope that you might have understood the behavior of the for loop, and you might have understood the program given as example. So in the forthcoming videos, we are going to discuss some of the examples on for loop, and you will understand more on this. So watch the video, subscribe the channel, and press the bell button for your notifications. Then watch the next video for getting updated with the various examples of for loop. Thank you.